So yes, the whole island recon mission, which has been set up as this super time-sensitive thing, lasts fittingly only like 10 minutes. We are maybe on the island for 10 minutes. Um, which is, it doesn't work for me. It's just too fast. We don't see enough of the struggle and the trials and tribulations that our characters go through on that island. Um, Now, I did hear that they cut about 40 minutes from this film. I am very interested to hear what that 40 minutes was. I mean, obviously, there was Zia's lesbian reveal scene, which was just like maybe a minute of screen time, but that was like all over the news before the film premiered because she revealed in an interview that they cut it, and so everyone was talking about it. But then Bayona himself admitted to cutting a scene with two Dilophosaurus dinosaurs, which, great. That was one of the upsets I had in the opening, but good to know that they cut a scene involving that species completely. But I don't know what the rest is. I don't know how long that Dilophosaurus scene was, so there could very well be another half an hour of deleted scenes. I'm sure it didn't all revolve around the island and capturing dinosaurs, but if there was just more to this island recon mission, I think I would have had a very different opinion about this film. I know that it's really just the setup to the actual story, so it couldn't have taken too long, otherwise we would have gotten bored with it. But at the same time, I just wanted it just left me wanting more. So now our main characters are hiding on the boat with all the dinosaurs. Blue needs a transfusion to survive. So Zia sends Owen and Claire to get a blood sample from the T Rex. This is, of course, the scene where they open her shipping crate, get in there, and try to get some blood from her. Owen says something really cool. He says she smells awful. Which is something I never really considered beforehand. Like, what did the dinosaurs smell like? It just really worked. It was one simple line, but it really worked to show that these are actual animals, and it made me think of them as such. Um, Again, this scene played out almost exactly as we've seen it in all the trailers. There was nothing really new to the mix here, but it was a fun scene, and the animatronic looked fantastic, and I have to say thank you for finally including animatronics again. Although they did replace the shot where Owen's kind of looking at Rexy's face. It's kind of that close in on him looking at the eye as the eye starts to open. They replaced that with CGI. There was this huge uproar a few months back where the trailer showed a complete CG redo of that scene, and everyone was up in arms, but Trevorrow tweeted out the eye animatronic remained in the film. They did replace some of it with CGI, and I have no idea why. It's not that the CGI looked bad, it did not need to be replaced. That shot with the animatronic was far superior to the CGI. So that was my only grievance with that scene overall. They get back to Blue, and we have this really nice scene where Zia operates on her, and we see the emotions of Blue. She's in pain, she's scared. The animatronic and puppeteering in this scene are so great. It really works to convey an emotion from a rubber puppet. Like, we really feel for Blue in this time. And Owen is there to comfort her, and we feel that bond that they share. What I think needed to happen, though, with her rescue on Isla Nublar, we don't get that feeling that she feels betrayed by Owen. I mean, here's the guy that left her alone on this island. She starts to trust him again, then immediately she gets trained for it. She gets hurt because of it. I would have loved to see just a moment where she looked at him as she was lying, slowly passing out on the ground, and just kind of made eye contact with him in a way that said, why? Why? And then this scene comes along, and initially, when Owen's trying to comfort her, she lashes out. She doesn't trust him anymore. She doesn't want him near her. And then he slowly calms her down and gets her through this, and she starts to trust him again. She realizes it wasn't any fault of his, and the two's bond becomes stronger because of it. But we don't get that, of course. I mean, the scene, for what it was, wasn't bad. It was pretty well done, if I might say so. But I do wish there was that sort of arc for Blue. I know I'm asking to give a dinosaur a character arc, but Blue is a character. That's all there is to it. So you have to give her an arc. So while this surgery scene is going on, we find out that they want Blue to be a sort of motherly figure to the Indoraptor. By the way, there's an Indoraptor in this film. We kind of find out about that between... everyone knows, but we find out about it at different times during the island rescue mission. We keep cutting back to Lockwood's estate, and we hear Eli talking with this sort of bid master about what's going on, and Macy overhears all of it, and while she's in the lab looking at videos of Owen and Blue, Dr. Wu comes in and starts yelling about how the Indoraptor he made needs improvements and how the next one needs a mom. So yeah, we hear all about that, and then Zia knows about it back on the boat. So we get back to the mainland. They start moving the dinosaurs off the boat and to the Lockwood estate. We see them kind of tase the T-Rex out of its cage, poking and prodding. The T-Rex enters a cage, eats a horribly CGI'd goat, and then gets locked in her own cage. Owen and Claire try to escape with one of the cars, but they get caught and put in one of the cages as well. And then all of these different representatives from different countries show up that night for the auction where the dinosaurs will be sold off. And in a great scene of intercut, we have the dinosaur auction going on. We see the different species that were rescued, how much they're selling for, and to whom, while Owen and Claire try to escape with the help of a Stygimoloch, who wakes up and instantly just starts bashing its head into the walls of the cell and eventually succeeds in knocking down the brick barricade, and Owen gets it to charge at him. He jumps out of the way, and it knocks down the door, and that allows them to escape. I just love the Stygimoloch. I mean, it is the best part of this film, hands down. But it just runs off, and so the bid is still going on, and then they finally bring out the Indoraptor. It's the first time we've seen this thing throughout the entire film. I mean, we kind of see it try to grab Macy at one point, but that's really it. Like, the thing is, with this sort of... I feel like they needed the villain dinosaur in this film, and it had to be a hybrid, because that's what was set up at the end of Jurassic World, but it doesn't feel like it plays for most of the movie. Like, it's just suddenly introduced in the third act, it feels like, and then it becomes the end of the second act, and then it becomes the third act, the villain of the third act. But it's like, it felt like it was an afterthought. They're like, oh yeah, we gotta have this in the movie. Where do we put it in? Let's put it at the end of the second act. It just felt like it was very late in the game, and because of that, I just couldn't get invested with the whole Indoraptor villain thing. But anywho, while this auction is going on, Claire and Owen have escaped. Owen... in a great scene, he puts the Stygimoloch on an elevator to the auction room, and the Stygimoloch gets off and just starts headbutting everyone, causing mass chaos. Everyone's going everywhere. Owen breaks in and starts beating up mercenaries and everything, and all of this chaos is going on while some of the dinosaurs have sold. The Indoraptor was about to sell despite Wu's protests, but then... after that, it really kind of gets a little hazy. The whole thing is they just don't want the Indoraptor to leave the building since it is a weapon designed specifically for killing people. And Macy tells them this, and they see a demonstration and everything. And so after this, it's kind of just every man for himself, that kind of situation. This is where Bayona shines. The Indoraptor escapes in a pretty awesome scene, I will admit, with Wheatley, who tries to get a tooth from it. It plays possum. He goes into the cage, and then it attacks him, and it gets out of the cage. It attacks the bid master and some of the representatives from the different countries in a great scene with the elevator. And then it's on the loose, and Claire and Owen and this little girl are trying to avoid it because it is hunting them. And this is where the film, I think, is at its best. Bayona's style is shown clear and true here with a gothic-style horror film with a dinosaur as the lead monster, a hybrid dinosaur as the lead monster. There's just so many great stalking and chasing scenes. Meanwhile, Zia and Franklin revive Blue in the lab, and she attacks some mercenaries who try to shoot her. They miss. They hit a barrel of like hydrogen something. It's a toxic gas that starts leaking out, and sparks cause the lab to erupt. Blue escapes, but the gas is still leaking everywhere, and Zia and Franklin know this. The dinosaurs in the cages below start getting affected by it. But meanwhile, Owen, Claire, and Macy are trying to escape this Indoraptor. They get separated. Macy runs away, gets into the I forget what it's called. It's a little elevator for food or whatever, and she tries to shimmy up that. In a scene that's straight out of the kitchen scene from Jurassic Park, she's trying to pull this thing down, and it's jammed, and the Indoraptor's running straight at her. She gets it closed, and the Indoraptor runs dead into the wall and kind of woozies itself, but it climbs out onto a window. Macy gets to her room, crawls into bed, locks the door, that kind of thing. The Indoraptor crawls over the roof, down and over, unlatches the window, creeps into her room as Owen bursts in, pumps it full of rounds. It's bulletproof, it stands up, and then Blue, from out of nowhere, attacks the Indoraptor, allowing Macy and Owen to escape. Here's another issue. The fight between the Indoraptor and Blue is almost exactly as it was shown in the trailers. There was almost no new footage, nothing interesting, and we cut away from it as Owen and Macy escape. Like, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's cut away from the awesome dinosaur fight between our beloved Blue, who really stands no chance of winning this fight because she is so outgunned. Yet she manages to kick the Indoraptor out the window. We don't see her again. Here's another issue with this whole fight scene. Owen is so ready and quick to abandon Blue while she is in a dire position. I mean, there was no way he could have helped her, obviously, but I think that really would have completed his arc. Just the whole, I don't care whether or not they die, then going to save her, then, calming her during her operation, and then seeing her in peril and not being able to leave her behind. He goes from saying, yeah, let him die, to I can't leave her. But of course, we don't get that. He just jumps out the window with Macy. The Indoraptor chases him onto this sort of glass-roofed building, and in one of the greatest moments in the film, it meets its demise. Claire, the glass is cracking under it, so it keeps to like the middle wooden pole, and it's hunched down, and it's creeping towards Macy and Owen. Claire shows up, and she, in a great moment of setup and payoff, we are shown what triggers the Indoraptor's attack. It locks onto a target once it sees a laser pointer, similar to how Rexy is drawn to a flare light. The Indoraptor is drawn to a laser pointer. So Claire, she points this gun, and we think she's going to shoot out the glass or shoot at the Indoraptor. She points it at Owen. Owen stands his ground, and then Claire hits a button that triggers a sound that causes the Indoraptor to attack its target. This is all demonstrated during the auction scene, and then here it is, a setup and payoff moment in the end. So we hear the sound, the Indoraptor attacks Owen, or attempts to. Owen dodges. The Indoraptor falls onto the glass, shattering it. It catches itself, crawls back up onto the rail, and we think, oh crap, now what? Blue comes out of nowhere, pounces the Indoraptor, gets the drop on it, takes it through the window, and the Indoraptor falls onto the horns of a Triceratops skeleton in the museum below, and Blue stands triumphantly on the frill and cries out in victory. Awesome sequence. Awesome death for the Indoraptor. I will praise this movie where it needs to be praised. So that's an awesome ending, and then Blue just runs off again. Our characters make their way down to the lab. They see that the dinosaurs are all being affected by this toxic gas, and they're like, oh, we have to let them out. We can't let them die. So Claire releases the cages. The cages go up, and now the dinosaurs are stuck down there. And then there's this button that would open the gates to the outside, and the dinosaurs could escape. And Owen's like, Claire, there's no going back if you hit that button. The dinosaurs will be loose. They'll spread to all over the place. There's nothing we can do. And Claire, has her moment where she's going to, but then she stops, and she's torn up about not being able to release the dinosaurs. into populated areas, but she knows it's ultimately what's best. Then Macy hits the button releasing the dinosaurs because A, she loves dinosaurs, and B, they're clones just like her. Oh yeah, I didn't mention that. This is a really cool idea. This is our first cloned human in the Jurassic Park universe. I mean, it's clear they have the technology to clone humans, but we've never seen it done. I mean, they can clone dinosaurs, obviously they could clone humans, but we've never seen it done, and it's the reason Lockwood and Hammond fell out. Macy is not Lockwood's granddaughter. He is her actual daughter that died, and they cloned her. And I thought that was a really, really cool concept, new to the Jurassic universe, completely original. They never explored it really it was just more of a backhanded plot twist device, and it was kind of unfortunate. Neat idea, but not really explored to its fullest. So anywho, the dinosaurs escape. Eli sees them coming. He's trying to save the Mosasaurus DNA, or the Indominus Rex DNA, but the dinosaurs come stampeding out. He hides under a car until they all pass, and then he crawls out, and he thinks he's safe. And in a great moment, we see the Carnotaurus standing in the background, and we think, oh man, it's gonna happen. He's going to get eaten by a Carnotaurus. Because we saw earlier how driven the Carnotaurus was to eat people. And it never got the chance. And I thought it was going to be this great moment where the Carnotaurus finally got to get the drop on a guy. But no. Rexy comes out of nowhere, eats Eli. The Carnotaurus kind of does a tug-of-war thing with it. And she gives it kind of a love pat with her snout and bops it away. And then she eats Eli and strikes her iconic pose just like in the Jurassic Park film and roars, and then she runs off. And I'm like, that perfectly summed up my problem with the film. How sort of lazily they handled the T-Rex, how they sort of treated her like an afterthought. They thought, oh yeah, we haven't shown the T-Rex in a while, better make her show up and eat this guy for no reason, and then have her strike her iconic roaring pose, and then have her run off. That was it. I mean, it just felt so lazy, so shoehorned, so disrespectful to the T-Rex in general. She was not given a big moment in this film. Like, after the opening sequence, it just got smaller and smaller and smaller. It went from this awesome, this well-shot opening sequence. I won't say it's awesome, but well-shot opening sequence where she lays waste to this recon team. Then we get the iconic shot of her pinning the Carnotaurus. Then she runs off. Then we get the cool animatronic scene. Then we get this horrible CGI scene where she gets put in her cage. Then we get this stupid ending for her roaring and eating Eli, and it was just so disappointing. So anywho, dinosaurs have run off. Owen and Claire and Macy and Franklin and Zia make their way outside where they encounter Blue once again, and Owen tells Blue to come with him, but she lets him pet her, and then she runs off into the night and says goodbye one final time. And then we go back to Jeff Goldblum's sort of doomy monologue. This is a great ending to the film, I will admit. It's a great setup. It leaves you wanting more. We see the dinosaurs spreading to all parts of the globe. We see the Mosasaurus in the ocean. We see dinosaurs being shipped worldwide from the bids that had already ended before the mayhem broke out. And we see Blue and we see the T-Rex. They're all make their way to different parts of the continent. The T-Rex roars at the lion. And then Jeff Goldblum has this doomy monologue about how now we have to be forced to coexist with species that we've never coexisted with before, and how doomed we probably are because of it. I think it ends with the shot of Blue looking over a suburban area. I think it really should have ended with the T-Rex breaking into the lion cage and roaring at the lion. That would have been an awesome ending. To end on the Rex seems like the right thing to do, and they couldn't even get that right, which was unfortunate. So we have this, but it is a cool scene, and it makes you wonder what's coming next, what's going to happen to the dinosaurs that were sold, what kind of casualties can we expect to happen, because Blue is now in a suburban area, and what's going to happen to the lion, things like that. It's a good setup for Jurassic World 3. Hopefully, I just hope that movie is better. By the way, there is a post-credit scene in this film. It's really not worth your time. It really could have just as easily been shown during Jeff Goldblum's ending monologue, and all the dinosaurs are now at different parts of the world. just to get it out of the way, it just shows some pteranodons landing on the Vegas Strip, and that's it. It's like 3 seconds. Could have easily been in Jeff Goldblum's ending monologue. It was the first post-credit scene we have ever gotten in a Jurassic film, and that's as good as it could get. So yes, overall, the film is incredibly flawed. Just with pacing issues for me, it just moved a little too fast. It felt a little too rushed. As far as the effects go, it was incredibly incredibly polarizing. Plain English, some of the CGI and the animatronics all looked fantastic, I'll say that. But some of the CGI looked amazing, so much better than Jurassic World, and some of it looked even worse. Like the scene with the Rex going into her cage back at the mainland, and the scene where she eats Eli. Those were two of the examples of the worst CGI that I have ever seen in a Jurassic film, which is so unfortunate. And for the most the face of the franchise, they can't do better with her. I mean, she looked okay in the opening sequence. I mean, there were moments with the flashes of lightning and everything where it looked a little hokey, but like when she's chasing down the helicopter, that CGI was fantastic. But then these other scenes, it was just... So yes, the island... total bummer when they're on the island. Once they get back to the mainland, I think it picks up a little bit. The style that Bayona brings to this film is very welcome. The Stiggy Moloch scene was awesome. The Indoraptor was awesome. The animatronics were awesome. But the story just felt rushed and poorly paced. The characters in this film, I will say, are better than Jurassic World. Owen and Claire are more likable. They still have to have their token kiss scene, just like the Rex has to have its token roar scene. But I do think it was more earned in this film. Their relationship felt more natural and it flowed much better. Now, obviously, I say all of these critiques, and I am not trying to say why I think you shouldn't like this film. I am simply trying to tell you why I didn't like this film. If you like this film, I think it has several redeeming qualities, and I can't say I blame you for liking it by any means. I just didn't, and this is why. This is obviously a great ground for discussion, and I would love, love, love for all of you to leave your thoughts in the comment section below in as respectful a manner as possible, as if you liked or didn't like the movie. Just try to be respectful of my opinions. I'm trying to be respectful of yours here if you like the film, and also be respectful of others' opinions. I don't want any bashing on either side going on in the comments section. But yes, I would love to hear your thoughts on Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I know a lot of you enjoyed it from what I'm hearing. But for me personally, it wasn't better. It was just barely more passable than Jurassic Park 3. I know that sounds a little harsh, but yeah, that's where I'm at. I am going to see it, I think, another 3 or 4 times in theaters. I'm hoping to see it in IMAX this coming weekend. So maybe second time around I will get more from it and find more enjoyment in it. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in and sticking with me. I know this was a long discussion video, but I had a lot of thoughts on this movie and I just wanted to get them out there. So thank you very much for tuning in. Really means a lot. And I promise we've got a review coming for you tomorrow. So that's going to do it for us. Thanks again for listening, and Killer Shrew Fan out.